Subcultures are all about people with shared values getting together. That's why I think it's terribly important for people to get out and support their local and regional goth musical artists. I think bands should be allowed to fulfill their traditional role of being a catalyst and focal point for social activity. Case in point, Britt and I recently attended a show that featured the cream of Portland's Gothic musical talent. The bands got together and they created this cool flyer to promote the concert that looks like a page out of a medieval musical manuscript. It even has a humorous illustration of the band Striga throwing their frontman out of a window and onto a crowd of angry townsfolk. And I think that illustration alone shows that we are in Gothic territory. Because let's face it, a heavy metal band would take itself way too seriously for such a gesture. The first band on the bill was a group called At the Heart of the World, and I was totally unfamiliar with the group. To be perfectly honest, they weren't my cup of tea. Britt described them as kind of a cross between Korn and an industrial group. And because I just don't know much about the group, they're going to get short shrift in this video. Now, the other groups on the bill, however, Striga, as I mentioned, as well as Nightsister and Doomed Romantics, we were, of course, familiar with those groups. I think those bands are incredibly talented. I think that they all have their own unique musical identity, and I'm quite proud, frankly, to live here in Portland where we've got such an excellent, vibrant Gothic musical scene. Now, I know I've done a video in the past where I've mentioned these groups before, but here I just suffice to say, if you haven't had a chance to check out Striga and Nightsister and Doomed Romantics, you really owe it to yourself to do so. Now, I know what some of you cynics out there might be saying. You're saying, oh, you guys are just promoting them because you're friends and you all live in Portland and whatnot. But actually, nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, it is true that Britt and I have spoken briefly with members of Striga 3 or 4 times, but we really hardly know them. And we don't know Nightsister or Doomed Romantics at all. I mean, we introduced ourselves once for 5 seconds in a bar, but that's the extent of it. The reason why I like to support these bands is because I think that they're really, really good. And I don't want you to take my word for it. I think you should listen to them yourself. I mean, Bandcamp and Spotify are only a click away. Striga, Nightsister, and Doomed Romantics are about to embark on a tour of cities in the Pacific Northwest. As soon as we have the dates, we'll let you know so you can check them out, particularly if you live up in Washington. Now, as it stands, Doomed Romantics only have 2 singles out, but they are fantastic songs. I mean, out of all the Gothic music that I've heard recently, those are definitely 2 of my favorite tracks. As I understand it, they are going to release an album soon, and as soon as they do, I'll talk about it here. I have a real affinity for the music of Doomed Romantics. I think that if you're an elder goth, or if you're a goth who lives in the UK, I think it would be cool if you'd listen to them and tell me what you think in the comments, because in my opinion, they sound like a band that you would hear on a Mick Mercer anthology. Listen to Striga, the more I think that they would fit right into the Mick Mercer camp too. It's really difficult to characterize Striga because they don't really sound like anybody else on the goth scene today, as far as I know. I guess maybe a good way to describe their music is, imagine if Fields of the Nephilim had a real interest in Eastern European folklore and mythology rather than the American West. Musically, I think that would give you an idea of what they sound like. music of Nightsister falls more on the ambient, ethereal side of the spectrum. They really have the Gothic image and presentation down, though, and perhaps it's for those reasons that they seem to have slightly more of a cult following here in Portland than the other two groups. I think it would be fantastic if an independent label picked up one or more of these groups, because I think they would be very, very successful. For example, I've gone out of my way to collect a lot of these compilation albums from Rough Trade. Every year, Rough Trade releases a compilation CD or recording of some kind, vinyl, that brings together the best of the UK's underground. And I have to say that listening to Striga and Doomed Romantics, I think their music is every bit as good, if not better, than anything you'd find on one of these. I came away from the show really impressed with how these bands are really refining their acts. And I was really impressed with the new material showcased by Striga. I think it sounds different from their other tunes, and I think it sounded really, really impressive. Also, Striga seems to have their image more solidified. Everybody really looked great, even the bassist. The only thing about the evening that really disappointed me was that I think that the performance could have and should have been better attended. There seemed to be a different crowd there than what we normally see at the Coffin Club. The venue was called High Watermark, and it's known as an alternative music venue. It seemed to draw a different crowd for some reason. And with all due respect to Coffin Club, you know, a venue that we absolutely love, the sound system was overall much better at High Watermark. So Goth is more than just a fashion show. You know, we really need to get out and support our local musical artists. You know, in Georgia, you've got Goth Dad holding down the fort. Down in Southern California, we've got the excellent Deceits. And up here in Portland, we are really blessed with a number of really talented goth bands. So I think it's really important that we support these third spaces. So where are you from? Let me know about a great local band in your area. Put it down in the comments so we can check them out.